Well, let me tell you something that I was told by a photographer. Don't have alligator arms. This is
What does
when
that
we
mean?
tuck both hands in. It makes us look insecure. Take one hand, place it on top.
Huh.
Give it a shot
I feel
without getting too
awkward now.
confused. You're like,
Yeah. No, yeah, that's so true.
look how much more confident you look.
Yeah.
Pull the shoulders back just a little bit. Boom. Man, you're authority. I'm going to listen to everything you have to say about food prep.
Well, you better. That's why we're here.
I'm ready. Hey, what's happening, you guys? Welcome to the Proclivity Podcast. My name is Joel Cochran. I'm your host, and I have Emily Rodella here this time. And she's the co-host. And we're both, if you're watching on, don't stop now. If you're watching on YouTube or Spotify, Emily and I are in our confident pose. We're flexing. Emily's arms look great. So I copied her in the way she was standing, and I'm getting my post too. You guys, welcome to the Proclivity Podcast. We are excited to have you here today, and what we're going to be talking about is food prep. This is such an interesting topic for most, because most people make this way harder than it necessarily needs to be. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to walk you through exactly how we do it. We're going to talk to you about how to be able to organize your shopping list when it comes to going to the store, so you know exactly what to get so that you can bring it home. And then when you get home, we're going to talk to you about how you can food prep to save time. Food prepping doesn't need to be an all-day service. We're also going to share how we do it personally, how we food prep. And then we're going to give you our top 3 tips. So buckle in, giddy up, whatever saying you want. We're going to dive into it. Emily, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask this because I'm the mindset guy. Why do you believe that people make this such a big deal? Food prepping. It's making food. Why does it become such a huge lift for so many people?
I think people's vision of eating healthy is just this picture perfect thing, similar to like working out. It can be that all or nothing mindset of like, well, eating healthy is this over here. So if I want to eat healthy, I have to do this. And that's all it is.
Right.
Right. But it's not. It can be way simpler.
I agree. It's like we've been pushed. We have been presented that we have to have these like beautiful food prep meals. You know how people take like a picture of their, like on the Instagram, and it's like all their Tupperware lined up, and it's all organized and perfect and so on and so forth. I mean, we did an Instagram story the other day where you took things and you slopped it all into one thing, and it worked out perfectly, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It was delicious. Didn't look great. It didn't look picture perfect like for Instagram, but it got the job done and it tastes great.
And yeah, a lot of people talk about when it comes to food prep that they need like variation, like they need to switch it all the time. Is that a mindset thing? Is that a physiological thing? Is it both? Talk about that just for a second before we jump into this.
Well, first thing I think of, I would imagine those people who are saying that are eating food that's boring in general, and they're not eating food they actually enjoy. So I would shift that, reframe your perspective of like, well, am I eating food that I actually like? Right? Because a lot of people they think they have to eat the chicken breast with the broccoli. I don't even like that, or just the thought of like that plain every day for lunch. No, for me, it's like, okay, can I have some chicken breast? Can I have 2 fried eggs and bacon on the side? Can I do some broccoli, but it's like a little extra crispy with some salt on top and some sweet potatoes? Like, make it a little bit more interesting, add some flavor in there. And to me, that's like, it's not a big deal. And we'll get into it, but you can mix and match those things. And it's when people have the same meal every day, I can see that for some people getting a little bit boring. So we have strategies and tips on how to mix and match to make that more fun.
But one of the things you point that we work in the proclivity method is one, metabolic flexibility. And what you just explained in a meal is a much higher fat meal than most people get. Now, I don't know if you guys have seen Emily before or not, but she is a very fit woman and she looks great and she eats fat. Okay, so that's one. Another thing is, I also heard you say salt. Put salt and it makes it flavorful. A lot of people feel that they shouldn't be putting salt onto their food. Y'all, we salt our food after we've salted our food. I salt my chicken and my broccoli, and then when I reheat it, you know what I do, Emily?
A little extra salt.
Why not? Okay, makes it taste great, right? I'm gonna cut up half an avocado, throw an entire half of avocado on there, mix with some of my chicken thighs because it has more fat instead of chicken breast that doesn't have as much fat. And yeah, I put olive oil all over those chicken thighs along with the fat that's on the chicken thighs. So, guys, two things are going to be delicious in life: fat and salt. Now, in correct moderation, this can be really, really healthy for you. We have just we have a concept, and when I say we, society has this concept of, stay away from the fat, stay away from the salt. And so you'll hear through what we're going to talk about today when it comes to organizing and prepping that you're going to hear a decent amount of protein and fat and salt. So let's dive into this. What is the first step when it comes to food prepping?
First step when it comes to food prepping, I would say, is making time to go to the grocery store and have a list ready to go. And specifically protein, right? We always want to prioritize protein. And so when I think at the most basic level of what we should have, it's like, okay, I want to make sure I always have chopsticks on hand because that's my backup meal. So I start at like the backup in my head. Like, do I at least, if I forget my lunch, if there's nothing else, if I want a snack, I have chopsticks. Cool. That's a protein source. It's easy. I like it. It's there. So I always think protein, but then in beyond that of like, okay, when I'm thinking about going to the grocery store, what to buy for the week, I want to think of at least 2 different proteins. Just first and foremost. So it could be chicken thighs, could be steak, could be ground beef. For me, eggs, chicken thighs, and ground beef are my go-tos because they're easy. They're on the cheaper side. And then I'll mix in there something like tri-tip or steak here and there, or pork, right? Different things. But those are the main ones that I think of first, making sure I have eggs on hand all the time, and then mixing up the chicken and beef. And fish would be a great one if you guys like fish.
Being able to have a detailed list is really important before you actually go to the grocery store in itself. And I guess I shouldn't say detailed, right? But a go-to list. Do you have a go-to list, or is that just imprinted in your brain because you've done it so many times?
Yeah, it's a mental checklist. I go protein, fiber. Do I need any other sides, right? So again, I just mentioned protein. Next would be a fiber. So fruits and veggies. What's in season? What looks good? What's there and organic? Is there anything on sale? What do I enjoy? Right. And I personally play it out because I have that checklist in my head. And I have some go-to meals that I'd be like, ooh, those bell peppers look really good today. Oh, the bell peppers don't look good today. Okay, I'm not doing that meal. We're not doing that prep. Let's switch over to broccoli, cauliflower, something else.
But I mean, you're a pro. That's pro level stuff. If we were talking somebody like base level, what would you suggest to them?
Making a grocery list. Having 2 lines for protein, 2 lines for fiber. That's basic. You can always add more. When I say 2 lines, 2 lines meaning, again, what's one protein you enjoy that you can prep? What's another protein that you can buy, prep, and enjoy? So 2 proteins.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
And then the other 2 lines for the fiber could be fruit, veggies, anything in that category that you're going to have for the week.
Got you. Got you. I did this with a client the other day was, and I got this from you, which is being able to have a list of all the favorite proteins, all
Mm-hmm.
your favorite fruits, all your favorite veggies, all your favorite fats. And I actually had her write it down. So I said, cool, I want to give you 60 seconds. Tell me, what are all the proteins that you like?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Breakfast, dinner, lunch, doesn't matter. And she was deli turkey and bacon and, tri-tip and chicken breast and boom. And I said, cool, great, stop. All right, veggies,
Yep.
1 minute, go. And she rattled off all the veggies. Oh, I like spinach and bell peppers and cucumbers and Brussels sprouts. Bang, 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 bang. All right, last, fats. And then I even gave her a little like, hey, how about some packaged foods? We'll let you slide here. What are your faves? And being able to list out their favorite packaged foods as well. And I
Mm-hmm.
had her put that on her phone. So at any point, it was just a notes in her phone. She could pull that up if she's at the store, because a lot of times she'd get to the store and be like, what should I buy? And I just
Mm-hmm.
said, start off with the protein, go to the deli, bang out your protein, then slide over to the produce. Boom, hit out the produce. That's going to get your fruits, your vegetables, and your fats all lined up right there. And then you can take a look and go down the center aisle and looking at the things that you do like packaged foods.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's a great idea. I have people, yeah, if you're struggling with the proteins, like, oh, I'm a little picky, I don't know what to eat. Think of the things you'd order at a restaurant. That's how I get my brain going. Like, what sounds really good to me? What would I order if I was at a restaurant right now? Oh, cool. How can I make that simple at home?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's get the protein. Let's get the veggie or fruit and fruit, right? And then, like you said, the fat, the salt, whatever that may be on the side.
Right. Okay. Cool. So we've gone to the store. We've gotten our list, whether that's a detailed list or our default list. Now it's how do we actually get it done? Okay, I have all my food. Do I need to block out 5 hours to be able to get my food prep done? How do we walk through this?
Yeah, this is where most people struggle mentally to figure out how can I food prep when I don't have time. One strategy is to take 4 hours on a Sunday to do that classic food prep of, okay, I have my veggie, I have my protein, and I have maybe an additional starch or veggie or fruit to have on the side, right? Or add the avocado in. And then it is lined out for the next 4 or 5 days. Cool, you can do that. But most people struggle mentally to get those 4 hours, be like, I don't have those 4 or 5 hours to shop, do all that food prep, put it all perfectly out. So the other way for me is to take advantage of the times you have a little extra time to make a meal, right? So meaning like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, those are the evenings I have a little bit more time to make meals. And so when I do have those extra times, for most people, that's going to be Saturday, Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I do have time to make a meal, I take advantage of that time and I just make a ton more. I don't make it all perfect. I don't have to have envision oh, I have to have all my things perfectly lined out. I don't have to weigh them all. Like, no. Again, protein and fiber. If you get if you get quality protein, most of them are going to be paired with a fat. So at least you're covering your basis of fat, and then you can add that in later. So again, think simple, protein, fiber. Can I make that one night and just make, like, if I'm going to turn the oven on, cool, stack it, have 2 sheets of veggies in there or potatoes, or if I'm going to make rice, I'm going to do a whole thing of rice so I have it for the whole week. Right? I'm never making one meal for one night unless it's a backup meal, which we'll get to.
Gotcha.
Right? So I'm always making as much protein that will possibly fit on the barbecue, as much protein I can possibly fit in the crock pot or instant pot or in the oven, whatever it may be. So I make a ton. We have a portion of that for dinner, and then there's automatic leftovers. I put that in the fridge in just big Tupperware, big glass Tupperware. Does that make sense?
So you put all your protein just in one big Tupperware. Okay. So that way you can mix and match.
Exactly.
Okay. So you're going to cook, and what I'm imagining here is you have the stove going, you have the oven going, you have the barbecue going. You're hitting as many things as you possibly can at one given time. Do you have all your containers laid out? I mean, how does that look?
I would imagine if someone were to be like, oh, Emily's a nutrition coach, she must have it all perfectly lined up and planned out. I don't. Again, I just stick to the basics of protein and fiber. I buy a little more than I think I need. That's another tip, especially with the protein, especially with like the snacking fibers, right? The fruits and veggies you don't need to prep with. I just buy a little extra and I mix and match throughout the week. So when I'm cooking, so say on a Friday or Saturday night when I have more time, I could spend, say, 45 minutes to an hour instead of like typical 20 minutes or 15 minutes each night throughout the week. I go, cool, I'm going to chop up these veggies, put them in, stack it all. And then when I get it all out of the oven, I just have giant Tupperware that I put all the veggies in. I have giant Tupperware that I put all the, if it's chicken thighs that night, chicken thighs in. Right. And then I put those in the fridge and I pick and pull for that night too and eat it that night. And I do the same thing the next night, but with all brand new veggies and brand new protein. Right. So instead of chicken thighs and say bell peppers and onions one night, the next night will be ground beef and broccoli and cauliflower. So now, just in 2 nights, with an hour at each, maybe an hour at each time, I have 2 giant Tupperware of proteins, 2 different proteins, and 2 giant Tupperware of veggies, 2 different veggies, or even, right, I usually do 2 veggies at one time just for variety's sake. That's just an option. So now I have those total 4 Tupperware, veggies and proteins. So then come Monday morning or even Sunday night, if I want to prepare it and put into individual containers, I can. I can mix and match. I can throw some eggs on top to spread it out even further. Right. So that's how I do it. I take advantage of the extra time to cook more on the weekends, and then I mix and match throughout the week and fill in the gaps.
I like that. It's being able to put it in, like, I'm just thinking of, like, I don't know why this comes to mind, but like Qdoba, right? Where they just have the big, like, pans of all the like meats and vegetables, right? That's right in front of you. And being able to make that easy for you and being able to go, oh, okay, today I'll do ground beef, Brussels sprouts, and I'll throw an egg on top. And you're just taking that in your container real quick. So you pop out your container, you take your big container, you pull your big containers out, you go scoop, scoop, toss here, throw that in there, bam, and I'm out the door.
Yeah, exactly. And a couple different ways to actually do the full on prep, right? The actual container you take to work or whatever it is for your lunch or breakfast. But oftentimes on Monday morning, I'm cooking breakfast and I'll cook all my eggs. So I tend to do veggies and maybe a little bit of meat or just eggs for my breakfast, my first meal. Sure. And I'll try and cook all those eggs up at one time, or at least for 2 days worth. So to save myself time in the later mornings of the week. Right. So I love to take advantage of eggs because they're cheaper. I think they're delicious. And again, it can spread your protein out more. Does that make sense?
So when are you doing your eggs? Are you doing your eggs that morning?
Yeah, either Monday morning, or if you don't like, my recommendation is if you have tight time in the morning, do it the night before, like on Sunday night when you are putting things away, when you're putting all the food away, heat up your stove, make some fried eggs on there, add them to some Tupperware, put them in the fridge, right? Even if it's just like 2 or 3 Tupperware for the next 2 or 3 days. That way you can even do it that night or the next morning when you figure out what you want. Then you put your other protein and your veggies in there.
Got you. Okay. So you're actually frying those eggs and then putting them in the fridge, and then you'll pull 2 out for Monday and 2 out for Tuesday.
Yep.
Got you. Okay. Awesome. So, I mean, what's the total time that you would say that you are food prepping throughout the week?
Ooh. If I had to guess, it's about 3 hours spread throughout the week. Yeah, so like an hour Saturday night, an hour Sunday night, and then maybe another hour doing the eggs and putting things together.
Yeah. Yep. I would say mine is 2 hours, and that's because I don't have a family. Right? I don't have Dansby, I don't have Casey. And so for me, I take the approach very similar to Emily. One of the biggest game changers for me was being able to get the biggest possible baking sheets that I could get. Because when I leave Costco, I'm leaving with a ton of vegetables and a ton of fruits. And people wonder, like, you're a single guy. You shop at Costco? That's for families. I'm like, no, not even close.
Not yet.
Like, if I had a family, I'd be grabbing 2 or 3 bags of broccoli. I'd be grabbing multiple, right, chicken thighs. Because that's how much we should be eating, guys, when it comes to protein and fiber. But we tend to fill up on the packaged food. And that's... Go ahead.
Yeah, excuse me. I was going to say, and we'll get, so just an example for our Costco trip, just my husband and I and my son, we leave every time with, the double, 24 eggs in one, right? Yeah, we get 6 of those every week and a half-ish. And we buy 40 pounds of ground beef from a local farmer who does grass-fed beef. We keep all that in our freezer. So that's like our basic go-to. And then we get all the sausages from Costco as our backup meal.
Yeah. Yes. People may be thinking like, man, that's crazy. That's so much protein. You're not eating enough protein. Most likely. You're not I can almost guarantee you're not having enough fiber. That's almost guaranteed as well. And so those are the 2 things that you really, really, really want to focus on. And then feel free to add in the fat, extra olive oil. Feel free, put on the seasoning. You'll be just fine. Now, if you're having all the packaged foods and you're putting on the seasoning and the extra salt, this is where it starts becoming an issue. This is why the slow shift in change happens over time of moving to more fats, proteins, and vegetables. So this is good. This is real good. Yeah. You guys, when it comes to food prepping, mentally, you don't have to make it as hard as it is. Like I said, I had 2 hours and I make meals for the entire week.
But you do more of that typical approach, right? But it's just a little less time. You take 2 full hours, like on a Sunday, right? And you cook your veggies, you cook your meat, right?
Yeah, because the oven's rolling. I got that sucker at 425. Well, I'm going to do my chicken thighs. I'm going to throw my broccoli in there. And I'm going to let that start cooking. Then when I pull out my chicken thighs and my broccoli, I'm going to put my asparagus in there, and I'm going to be cooking my tri-tip also at the same time on the pan. I don't have a barbecue at this moment, so I do it in the pan, and then I toss it into 425 into the oven to finish it off. So now I have tri-tip, 2 starches, 2 proteins, and then if I want to get crazy, I finish it off by cooking my ground turkey. So then I have ground turkey, chicken thighs, tri-tip, and then same as you, I have those sausages for additional protein as needed. And then I have cucumbers, bell peppers that are in the fridge at all times because it's super easy to grab a English cucumber on the go. It's already wrapped up. I can just grab it and move it. Same with a bell pepper. I can eat that thing like an apple. If you've never ate a bell pepper like an apple, you can. Full permission is given. Full permission is given. So I keep it very similar to you. Lots of protein, lots of veggies. Put it into containers and then leave it at home and actually don't bring it to lunch.
Joel forgets his lunch a lot.
So I have perfect meals made at home right now.
We all do. We all do it. And I will say too, of having some backup options is key, right? For those more full weeks and days, or the things that pop up unexpectedly in your day and you have less time to prepare your dinner, the sausages, great backups. Have them in your freezer, have them in the fridge, even they'll last a couple weeks in your fridge. And then if you notice you're not eating them, great. That's a good sign that you're having more scheduled days in. Cool. Then have them as a meal one night to use them up, or throw them back in the freezer. And so sausages are huge. Eggs, those are always my backup too. I can eat just eggs as a meal personally. And if I want, the other part of a backup meal is having those snacking fruit and veggies. Carrots, like you said, bell peppers, cucumbers, whatever you enjoy on the veggie side. Fruits, apples and bananas, right? Get green tip bananas. 1, they're going to last longer. 2, less sugar and more prebiotic fiber. Better for us anyways. And then apples last a long time. And then if you want to get some berries, blueberries, rinse them in 1 part vinegar, 10 part water. They'll last you longer. Those are great. Like Joel said, grab and go. If you need to make a backup meal and just piece it together, or 2, if you just want some variety, throw some blueberries in with your eggs, bacon, and potatoes. Cool, right?
That's right.
That really helps with variety, makes things quick and easy.
That's it. So let's wrap this up. If you guys have been listening, hopefully you've taken away some nuggets here of how we do it, and you can see it per usual. The Proclivity way, simple and easy are not the same thing. Yet, if you took a look at both Emily and I's food prepping, it is quite simple. Doesn't mean it's bland. We put plenty of salt, plenty of fat, and plenty of flavor to all of our foods. Yet we don't make it complicated. Because I will tell you this right now, guys. If your thought process is, I always need variation, I have to have change every week, what you focus on expands. You're just telling yourself a story. Make it simple. You don't focus on food as much, you're not going to be obsessed with food as much. It's just how the brain works. So if that's something that you're like, wait a second, that's it, hit me up. Just hit me up. Joel Cochran _ on Instagram. All right, what are our top 3s that our listeners can take home today?
Prioritize protein. All right, there's some people who say 1, it's hard, or 2, it's more expensive, or 3, I don't like it as much, right? Find a way to like it. Find the ones you do like. Chop it up more. Throw it in with, for me, I had to start eating it with some sweet potatoes. I had to eat it with bacon because it was hard for me to get enough of. But then once I started adding some salt and fat, that was a game changer too. But always prioritize protein when you're shopping. So I tell people 1 and 2, buy more than you think, prep more than you think. Start there.
Done. Okay. Number 2.
Have backup options. I actually eat a backup meal probably twice a week at least. Meaning it is the sausages. It is for lunch sometimes it is 3 chopsticks and an apple and pumpkin seeds or something like that. Those are my backup things I can grab and pull from. Easy, and I'm still getting protein in. So have your backup options, or go to a restaurant or a trifecta freezer meal, something to that order.
And 3rd.
And then number 3. I mentioned this before. Have those non-prep items in your fridge at all times. For me, we almost always have carrots or bell peppers, and we always have some sort of fruit, at least 2 fruit. Again, apples and bananas are our go-to, and berries we love too. So blueberries, from us, they last the longest. We almost always have those, so we can pick and pull from those.
Bingo, bango. Anything else? Is there a 4th? Is it creeping in there?
There's a lot. I could keep going. But overall, keep things simple. When you have extra time, take advantage of the time. If you have, like Joel said, if you have the oven on, fill it up. If you're chopping veggies, cool, and there's another veggie in your fridge, take an extra 5 minutes to chop it up. Include your family in on it. If you have kids, be like, hey, want to come up here? I have that stool that sits at our counter. He can either color or draw, or we have his own little knives that won't hurt him, and he can practice with me. So remember that we often make it a lot harder in our heads, and it can be simpler.
That's right. That's right. What we focus on expands, guys. If any of this information has been beneficial to you, or you have any questions, please reach out to us, Joel at proclivity.co or Emily at proclivity.co. You can also go to our website to be able to learn more, www.proclivity.co. Do we have anything to give them? Do we have a PDF? We have a... No?
Which one are you thinking of?
Obviously
we have our
not.
Trusty brand list.
We have
That's
a trusty
helpful.
brand
So
list.
Especially for the packaged foods, we have alternative brands, because we might as well, if we're going to be getting the packaged cookies or chips weekly, cool. I do that too. But get ones that have quality ingredients rather than the seed oils or the gluten-filled things with the glyphosate and the pesticides. Like, we want these better brand options to go to if we're having it daily or weekly.
There it is. That's the one. That's the one. All right, you guys. Thank you once again for tuning into the Proclivity Podcast. We always appreciate you guys coming in. If you guys like the show, please share it, like it, give it a review. That's it. Wrapping up episode 131. Emily, anything else?
Random little pro tip.
Okay. We're not done, guys. You thought you were about to turn it off. We're back in.
When you're prepping your meat and veggies, avoid using aluminum foil all the time. So for me, what I do is if you want to make the cleanup easier, I'll put aluminum foil on the pan, but on top of that, so the food's not touching the foil, I put parchment paper, because the aluminum does seep into the food and can get into your body and cause problems. So a little tip for safer food eating.
Oh, great. Yeah, there you go. Don't eat aluminum. Pro tip.
Correct.
You guys, thank you for tuning in. Until we see you again.
Best day ever.
That was it. That was the one we were shooting for. Best day ever. Emily, I got a question for you.
I have an answer for you.
You think so, huh?
No, did I say that?
If you could go back to any time as a child, what time would that be? You get one time. Go back. What would that be?
Dang, that's a good question.
And why?
Oh, man, I'd want to think on this more. Yet the first thing that comes to mind is when I was 6 years old when my parents got divorced. So I could tell my child self that I'm going to be okay. And I can express my feelings. Maybe it's some of you that might sound silly, but that's what I would do.
I highly doubt anybody who's listening to our podcast thinks that's silly. That's it, you guys. There's nothing else to be said. Well done, Emily.
Thank you. Appreciate it.